Innovative content. Global audience.
Hello, good morning, viewers. Yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful morning here from the world's capital city, London. This is Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Princess Kessy. Of course, we had quite a lot yesterday coming from Nigeria, and once again, happy independence to us, even though it was celebrated on a very low key. I'm of the opinion that that was a very good move. I feel like we don't have so much to celebrate. Of course, when we have people crying more than we have people laughing, so why should we celebrate? That is the question. Anyway, it's not my place to say. Today on the show, I have with me a young Nigerian. You know how we do it on this station. Of course, it's a youth-friendly station. I have with me this morning Akpome Austin. He's going to be revealing the paper with me this morning on the show. Good morning, sir, and you're welcome.
Good morning, Princess Cassina. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yes, you're welcome.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, you're welcome, sir.
You on the show for the first
so
time.
How was the celebration yesterday?
The celebration, in Nigeria at 63 was quite on a low key. The celebration just as it has been in the past 2 years, it has been on a low, and the Nigerian citizens, some are worried that do we really have anything to celebrate? Is it worth celebrating at 63? So these are the questions begging for answers.
Wow. And then we have a lot of issues coming from the national dailies this morning, right? A lot. And thank God you're here with me to review some of the papers this morning. So I really want us to kickstart this morning with some of the very trending news, and of course disturbing as well, not just trending but disturbing as well. We have coming from the Punch this morning. We're going to kickstart the paper, the reviews this morning with the Punch newspaper. Now, these are some of the stories making waves. The main headline here says federal government, FG, OK's allowance for senior staff, Labour may suspend strike. And that story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says wage award now for all cadres of workers, says Bajabia Miller. VAT on diesel waived for 6 months. FG increase allowance to 35,000 naira as Labour rejects 25,000 naira. OPS again won against strike. That story as well is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. We also have a story here that says Independence Day, APC berates PDP as opposition fought Tinubu's speech. That story is on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says 1 dies, 7 injured in Lagos-Ibadan expressway crash. That story is on the front page of the Punch newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says no plea again agreement with Emefiele, says AGF, and that story is on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. Now we'll have another story here saying Chicago academic record. Tinubu lawyers kick as court orders release, and that story is on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says FG issues first wholesale gas supply license, order PIA. That story is on page 19 of the Punch newspaper. We also have a story here that says devaluation, government, banks may make 2.2 trillion, manufacturers loses 995 billion naira. I take that again. Devaluation, government, banks make 2.2 trillion, manufacturers lose 495 billion naira. And that story is on page 19 as well of the Punch newspaper. Now, these are all the stories we'll have coming from the Punch, Austin. Now, let's look at federal government OK's allowance for senior staff. Labour may suspend strike. Now, what's your take on this? We saw from the opening speech. Have you seen the speech of the president? Let me start from there.
Regarding the Nigeria Independent Ancestor Trail,
Yes.
you just as I told you, we are not happy with the current state of Nigerians, and that so many citizens are not really interested in what the president is saying. So we pay little or no attention. What
Oh,
will
is that bad, right?
development?
Is that bad, right?
Is that bad? The present condition of Nigeria is so bad. It's so bad economically.
Wow, it's really sad. And then, what's your take? We're seeing that federal government okays allowances of senior staff, even the junior staff as well, because we know the fuel subsidy removal. Nobody's telling each other the story. We all know the story. We all are feeling the impact of that fuel subsidy removal. Now, what's your take on that? The federal government increasing a percentage of workers by 25,000, now again 35,000. Do you think, as a worker, this will even cushion the effect, the stress at which the workers are going through, family people, and of course, talking about transportation hike, food hike, and cost of living?
Well, thank you very much, Princess. First of all, if the federal government has okay senior staff's labor income, the question we should be looking at is when will this be effective? And what is the continuity of this process? Because you can't say you've okayed it for maybe 2 years, and after 2 years, there is no plan for sustainability of this. You agree with me that Nigeria's Labor Congress, they are suffering. They are suffering a lot. Such minimum wage increments will not be able to do anything owing to the current economical situation. For me, as an example, like me, I transport to my workplace, spend 500 naira every day going and coming back. So at the end of the month, what will I be paid? How will I pay my bills? How will I cater for my family? So I think increasing this with this percentage, it has little or no effect to what compared to what we are suffering.
Wow. And then there's a story here as well coming from the Punch that says Chicago academic record. Tinubu lawyers kick as court orders release. Now, let's recall that the court in US has given the school the power to, or let's say the command to, make sure Atiku is able to access every record of the president, talking about the school academic record. Now, do you think this will make any headway regarding the Supreme Court? They've headed to Supreme Court. Do you think this will even help in any way?
To me, I don't think this will be of help in any way because Tinubu, although sorry, I'm speaking as a Nigerian citizen, not as a political
Yes,
party
as a
affiliated
partisan.
individual. Uh, Doing that, I don't think it will have any positive effects. It won't have any positive effect on the outcome of these electoral tribunal cases and here and there. I don't think it will have any positive effects. Owing to the fact that we've gone far with this process. So what I think will have any positive effect in this situation is tendering tangible evidence. And because me, I don't think the School of Chicago just has many
You think that is not evidence enough?
evidence enough in the sense that
No, you think that when somebody lie, maybe somebody lie along the line, lie about their academic record, you think that is not tangible enough to
oh,
as
it is
standard
well,
evidence?
it is tangible enough. While I say it is not going to be tangible enough, I don't think the personality of our president Bola Ahmad Tinubu could have possibly lied about his academic process from the University of Chicago. I don't think it's possible. But if it is possible, let them prove beyond reasonable doubt. Then from there, the court will take its effect. It's now in the hands of the judiciary.
For the judiciary, we wait and see. Now we'll move quickly to other papers we have this morning, and I'll quickly take the Vanguard. Now, these are some of the stories coming from the Vanguard this morning. The major headline here says 24 hours to nationwide strike. FG's meeting with LLC TUC ends in deadlock. And the rider says Labour rejects government offers. Meeting reconvene today. Others state council affiliates to ensure total compliance set up zonal strike coordinating committees. FG offer 25,000 wage award across board. Now, this is the major headline and all these stories on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says we can move against Okada operations, open grazing in Abuja. Now, that's on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. We also have a story here that says Nigeria at 63. Governors can, others preach peace, says country's challenges submersible, and that story is on page 4 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says courts, U.S. court orders CSU to release Tinubu's academic record to Atiku, and that story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says devaluation, banks rank in 1.9 trillion forest profits. That story is on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Ilebaye emerges winner of BB Niger All Stars, and that story is on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Buhari never regretted his decision as president. This is coming from Garba Shehu, and that story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Boa reduces cement price to 3,500 per bag. Wow, that is a relief. And that story is on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. These are all the stories we have coming from the Vanguard this morning. Now, let's take it from NLC point now. Do you think NSC should actually go on the strike? We know they've been having meeting with the government, right? Last night, all through the night was a serious closed door meeting. And now we saw that even with the offer, the Vanguard writer says, Labour rejects government offers. Meeting reconvenes today. What's your take, Augustine? Do you think Labour should go ahead? You know, when it is somebody say, I will beat you, and they are not beating you, you sometimes you look them as if this one, I bet who is this one? You always say something and you don't mean it. Do you think once and for all, Labour should shut down to pass a message as to fuel subsidy removal, the wage palliatives here and there? What's your take?
Oh, my take on that is that you know, if you as an individual you say something and you don't take appropriate action to measure it up, people will always feel that this is how he or she always carry out threats, and they are in a layman was say they are empty threats. So I think Labour should go ahead with the strike, and they should keep on negotiating. They should keep on negotiating. You know,
even while they're on the strike, right?
Yes, even while they're on the strike, they should keep on negotiating. If you don't bring what you think is equable to you as an individual, nobody gives it to you freely. So, to me, I think Labour Congress to continue with the strike.
Okay, Labour, they say you should continue with strike. Let's not become, let people stop looking at you as if though you are a toothless bulldog. Today you say something, tomorrow you say another, we're striking, and nothing happens. We've been seeing meetings upon meetings for months, for weeks, and now it is time to hit the nail on the head. Pass that message effectively. If you have to go on strike, if you have to shut down. At least this is for the masses. So I bet the masses will understand as well. So I think we should do this once and for all. And then there is a story here that weekend moves against Okada operations, open grazing in Abuja. Now, there's this trend in Abuja right now. A lot of people feel Wike already. They were. I heard some days ago. Even not just some days ago. There's something that has been happening in Abuja. I came from Abuja to the UK, and then have been there for years. There's something that keeps happening in Abuja where government just come and crash Okada. Yeah, if you're unlucky and they seize your bike, your motorcycle, what happens next is crashing. They take you to somewhere around Godo area and they crash them to pieces. So you could see maybe 500 bikes, 1,000, they just take them and they crash. And then at the same time, we're seeing Aboki going around the city center with their cows and nobody talks to them. Now, this has been the debate. And now Wike is saying, when Wike came and the same thing happened. Now, what's your take on this? Where
Okay.
Okadas are being destroyed, but the city center perceived to be the Nigerian's capital, you see cows roving even around Central Bank, everywhere in Abuja.
Okay, thank you very much. To me, it should be foolish in quotes to continue with an action, the same process, with the same people, at the same with the same using the same method, and expect different results. To me, what I think Minister Wike should have done is that call these people, make them to understand the impacts this will bring to the city of Abuja. Discuss with them this and this are put in place. Yes, we are going to come into agreement, and we are going to put off the Okada. There will be no Okada in the city of Abuja. But tell them, okay, you are going to have so compensation. Okay, you launch a trade or you have something doing. Okay, take so money and then go and start a trade. If you cannot relocate to other parts of Nigeria where this activity is totally in operation. So to me, I think this is what the government should look into. They should look it from this approach of negotiation. You negotiate with people. It's not leadership is not a forceful process. You attain a process gradually, and to me, I think doing that with negotiation, we have a lot of positive impact. Then talking about the issue of open grazing in Abuja, in the developed world, you don't have. Thank God you are in London, and I think and I believe that those in London also eat cow meat, but
Of course.
you don't see cattle moving around, people moving
Never,
around the streets
never.
moving around the streets of London. So to me, it's a good idea. But just as I have said before now, is a matter of the process you take in achieving this purpose. Call the cattle rearer together. I know they have a head in Abuja, and they have head in each
Yes.
state. Call them together, negotiate with them, tell them what you have put in place, because these people have been in operation in this manner for long. So it's like you taking a fish that lives in the river, in the salt water, to the fresh water. There is what we call adaptation. So for these people to adapt to what you want as a new development for them, you have to put measures in place that we have to harness some of these challenges they will be facing. So to me, I think the government should make some plans for these individuals. After those plans, that they will be able to see reasons. Okay, the government have done this, they've done this. Okay, we can start from here. So before you know, this we hope for, that a free cattle grazing or nomadic movement of herdsmen around the city of Abuja, it will become a solution.
Well, we hope that sincerely, because taking the bikes of these young people and then destroying their bikes, what become of these youth? What do you want them to do? Roving
That's
around
the
the
question.
streets?
That's the question.
That means also when we look at insecurity, these are some of the issues. You take their bikes away, and how do you think they will survive? If they don't have a
And
means of surviving, what will they do? They will come for you. Now,
that's the
these are
problem.
some
Some of
of
them
the
will turn
issues.
back to the street and become armed robbers and all that. So it's not just about trying to solve a problem. It's also trying to mitigate about the aftermath, the detrimental effects of you solving this problem. After, okay, you solve the problem. So what is the place for these people? What do you expect them to be doing? I think these are questions that the federal government have to answer to achieve this purpose in Abuja.
Well, just before we move away from Vanguard, there's a story here that says Boan reduces cement price to 3,500 per bag. How do you feel about this?
Oh, it's good news, a good news, and it's a welcome development where,
At least Nigerians yesterday were not happy because they felt like there was nothing worth celebrating for 63 years we've been retrogressing. But I think this will put smiles on our faces. What do you think?
yeah, it would put smile on our face to an extent, while we await the bigger success. It will put smile on our face to an extent. Talking about the reduction of boa cement, so the price of 3,500, I think is a welcome development, and I am hoping that Dangote Smith and other Smith factory will follow suit. Although I have read on the news where Dangote said he's making plans for the price reduction by the end of this month or early next year, pending when they've completed the inauguration of their two cement factories. But I think waiting to that extent is too long. It's too long. You have been producing cement for a couple of years now in Nigeria, so you don't need to have a big establishment or a boss establishment before you do what will bring what's it called positive change to the society. We've been suffering, and I think reducing this price of cement is a welcome development. I'm totally in support of that, and I'm encouraging other cement factories to follow suit.
To follow suit, yes. And if they can even reduce more than this, we'll be happy. They cannot
Yes, it will
expect
be.
to sell expensive, right? Other
Yeah,
countries. But your
yes,
country, we should feel the effect or the
yeah,
impact that our person, we have an indigenous producer. So we should
yes,
not be paying as high as others. That's actually a very good news, and I know my
yeah.
country is very happy
It's a
about
good
it.
one. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yes, we will move quickly to the next newspaper we have, and that would be the Daily Sun. And these are some of the stories making waves. The main headline here says strike. FG makes concessions, Labour to consult organs. And the rider says VAT on diesel removed for 6 months. Labour yet to accept 35,000 naira salary increase offer. 5,000 transport, 5,000 transfer to poor household. That's to all these stories on page 6 of the Punch, the Daily Sun newspaper. Now, we also have a story here that says Nigeria bleeding pirates, writes Tinubu, end corruption, poverty. Kachuku ADC presidential candidate tells president. And then that story is on page 7 of the Daily Sun newspaper. We also have a story here that says Black Independence Day. Many burned to death as tanker explodes on failed Bini Saple Road. That story is on page 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper, a really sad one. And then we
Exactly.
have a story here as well that say Peter Obi urges Nigerians to be hopeful for better tomorrow. That story is on page 7 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says IPOB disown Biafra Liberation Army, says group led by EPA. And that story is on page 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says federal LG has no 50 billion plea bargain deal with Emefiele justice minister. That story is on page 29 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says PDP, Atiku kick president over Independent Day speech, claim it was empty, hopeless. That story is on page 7 of the Daily Sun newspaper. We also have a story here that says Ilebaya emerges BB Niger All-Star winner goes home with 120 million. And that story is on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Now, these are all the stories we have this morning coming from the Daily Sun. There's a story here also that says U.S. court orders Chicago University to release Tinubu's records to Atiku by Tuesday. Says any appeal by presidents will be rejected. Any appeal by the presidents will be rejected. Now, these are all the stories we have, Augustine, coming from the Daily Sun this morning. I saw a story here that actually caught my attention. There's a story here that says Black Independence Day. I saw that pictures yesterday. I couldn't look at them because I don't have the heart to. That actually happened somewhere
It
in
was so terrible.
Rainy Road yesterday, yes, and a lot of people actually lost their lives. So it was indeed a Black independence for Deltans yesterday.
It is. It is.
We pray that the faith roads. This was what I heard. The roads are not too good, and the tank actually fell, and the PMS started splits all over the road. That was how the whole thing happened. It's really sad. These are the things we talk about. There are some things you don't just see in a developed country, and sometimes I wonder our leaders. They come here, they see these things, and they can't take one of it.
They don't want to replicate any of the good things they see outside Nigeria. They feel abroad to get medical treatments. That which you want outside, that comfort, why can't you bring it home?
It's really sad. And then there's a story here that says Nigeria bleeding. This is coming from Kachiku. And what's your take on that? And also PDP saying that the president's speech was empty and hopeless. Now, what's your take on this?
Just as I told you, I've always expressed and expected hopelessness from the president's speech. So I didn't take time to have a review of what his speech was all about. It's just like you have been already anticipating what the outcome will be. So to me, I totally agree with what PDP said, that his president's speech is hopeless. It is hopeless until we start seeing tangible results. Nobody is interested in your talk. We want to see results. We want to see the common man having a good life. We want to see the common man not begging for social amenity. Life is hard for the common man. No one is interested in speech. We are interested in the actions it takes to back this speech up. So many speech has been made. A lot have been said, but very little or nothing has been done. So it becomes an issue not to have hope for until we'll start seeing results.
Well, we'll wait and see. And then Peter Obi is saying that urges Nigerians to be hopeful for better tomorrow. Do you think we should be hopeful? Something might just happen tomorrow. What's your take?
When you say we should be hopeful, I think we've been hopeful for a very long time. We've been hopeful for a very long time, and when you are hopeful for a very long time, it becomes like a mirage. When you get close, it gives you more assurance. Be hopeful, be hopeful. Peter Obi assuring Nigeria to be hopeful. To be hopeful on what exactly? Is it on the outcome or on the assumed anticipate victory for his election? To be hopeful on what exactly? So these are some of the questions which we ask ourselves. Should we be hopeful for the incumbent government to bring success to the common man, or we should be hopeful that the political terrain will come in his favor? We should be hopeful for what?
We should be hopeful that Nigeria will be better tomorrow. This could mean a lot of things, you know.
So
details of that story.
Be hopeful. I require some specificity. in the area of when he says we should be hopeful.
Anyway, we are hopeful, and we hope that these people will not keep taking Nigerians for granted like they always do, that what they
Oh,
have been doing, like what you said. We'll move on quickly to the next newspaper we have, and that would be the Daily Trust. These are some of the stories coming from the Daily Trust this morning. The major headline here says Labour presses on to decide on strike today. And the rider says FG approves 35,000 naira provisional wage increase for workers. The second rider says remove VAT on diesel for 6 months. Temporary pay rise won't solve hardship, experts tell Tinubu. And all the stories are on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says tanker explosion kills 8, injures 7 in Delta. That story is on page 12 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says girl child education. Kanu pays 20,000 stipends to 45,000 girls. And that story is on page 2 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Bauchi Emirates gets Waziri in Ingi 62 years after. That story as well is on page 2 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also saw a story here that says mixed reactions threats Tinubu's Independence Day anniversary speech. And that story is on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we saw a story here that says that Tinubu Shetima governors marks 63rd independence anniversary, and that story is on page 2 of the Daily Trust newspaper. There's a story here as well that says court orders Chicago University to release Tinubu's academic records to Atiku, and that story is on page 11 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Boa crashes cement price to 3,500 per bag, and that story is on page 22 of the Daily Trust newspaper. These are all the stories we have coming from Daily Trust this morning. And I want you to quickly take a look at this story that says we've talked about labor. And now there's a story here that says girl child education. Kanu pays 20,000 naira stipends to 45,000 girls. Do you think this will help when we talk about girl child education? You know, the northern part is a part of the country where they don't really value the girl child education. Of course, you know, some of them are married off at a very early age. And now the government is taking it upon itself to make sure they reach out to the girl child. Now, what's your take on this? For me, I will applaud. This is a good move.
Oh, yeah, it's a good move, but in as much as it's a good move, what would that stipend do to a girl child? I think the government needs to invest a lot on the girl child. You know, society is like a table that has 4 legs, two for the
Okay.
male child, two for the girl child. If you
Really?
pay more attention to just only the boy child or the female child, there will be a developmental imbalance.
Okay.
So, to me, I think it's a good move, but let the government do more, because we can't pay less attention to the girl child. The girl child is as important as the boy child. So I think if not equal opportunity, priority should be given to the girl child.
Okay, now there's a story here. Experts are saying that 35,000 naira will not even solve the problems, the hardship of Nigerians. So, what's your take on this? Now, the government saw it as though it's a move to cushion the effects of, the fuel subsidy removal. But now, experts are saying that this will not even solve the problems or the hardship of the workers. Don't forget also, Austin, that it's not everybody that is benefiting from this, because one of the private sectors, government is not paying workers to pay money to government workers who will not pay to private sectors, and those are doing business on their own. So now what's your take on this? Because experts are saying that temporary pay rise will not even solve the hardship at all.
Yeah, it's like taking paracetamol for for headache, and it will go and it will come back without proper medication. So temporary, the government has been providing temporary solutions. So how long do they want us to continue with providing a temporary solution that will satisfy immediate gratification? Before you know, tomorrow there is the problem again. So I don't think it is a solution to ameliorate the current economical situation of Nigeria. Just as someone has rightly asked, what happens to those in the private sector? But for me, like I work in the private sector. So what happens to people in my cadre? What happens? Recently, the federal government I did the minimum increment, the subsidy removal, whatever it was called. They added 10,000 naira to civil servants. What happens to the guy in the mechanic workshop? What happens to the guy who is a fashion designer? What happens to the woman selling water along the roadside? So looking at it at this like this direction, it's not something that will solve the problem of the common man. What should be at the focus of the federal government is how to be able to provide solution that will link that down to the common man, the man at the top of at the bottom of the pyramid. So doing this, I don't think is it will provide any solution.
Anyway, we'll go on a quick review as when we return, we'll continue with the reviews. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Hooray! The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The Next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets.
Side story. Is there anything like good or bad? Do we have advantages or disadvantages? Is there a right or wrong? This is Crossfire on SRTV.
You're welcome back from that quick break. This is Wake Up Nigeria. Of course, we have quite a lot happening in Nigeria right now. People are not smiling. Yesterday's celebration was on a very low key, and people termed as a black celebration because there's nothing to celebrate after 63 years. People feel they are retrogressing instead of progressing. Austin, we are going to move on quickly to the next newspaper we have, and that will be This Day newspaper. Now, these are some of the stories coming from This Day newspaper this morning. The major headline here says, after meeting with FG, Labour calls emergency NEC to consider planned strike, nationwide strike. Tinubu announces 35,000 provisional wage increment for all federal workers. Labour's request for higher wage to be presented to the president for further consideration. All the stories on page 5 of This Day newspaper. But there's a story here as well that says Saludo renames Anambra Airport after literary icon Shinu Ashibe. And that story is on page 12 of the This Day newspaper. We also saw a story here that says Tinubu leads Shetima others to mark Nigeria's 63rd independence anniversary. Governors optimistic about nation's future. Country doesn't need to suffer current hardship, says PDP. And then that story is on page 5 of this day newspaper. Gas slashes make price to 3,500, promises further reduction next year. That story is on page 10 of this day newspaper. We can't wait for next year to come. You guys need to
Yeah.
slash it down the more.
Yeah.
That is what we need. And then there's a story here that says US court set to release Tinubu's academic records today. Gives CSU 12 p.m. deadline to comply. Sets expedient schedule for discovery. Now, all these stories are on page 10 of this day newspaper. Now, these are all the stories we have coming from this day newspaper. Now, there's a story here that one of the way riders I want you to talk on. Labour's request for higher wage to be presented to the president for further consideration. Now, do you think it is more wage we need, or subsidy removal, subsidy to come back, or what do you think will even be the final solution to this? Because Labour keeps moving for higher wage, but nobody's talking about, like you said, the private sector. What do you think will be the best approach for this?
To me, if Labour continue, although I'm in support of them moving for a higher wage, but if they continue moving for a higher wage, so it means that there will be continuity in requesting for a higher wage because the economical situation changes per year. So when the economical situation changes and it can no longer satisfy your current wage, you are going to request for a higher wage. So to me, it's not just about requesting for a higher wage. It's also requesting for providing solutions. So some of all these things that affects the common man. And I think I will commend the cement factory Bois to have already started this. So when there are reductions in prices and the common man can access common goods and services, I
The
think
common man can still build as well, and it's a
yeah.
very good thing to applaud.
Yeah, so the issue of increment in higher wage, minimum wage, will become of it will be subsided because I've been growing up hearing the government, the Labour Congress this year they are requesting for minimum increment in minimum higher wage and all that. So I think it's not just requesting for increments. It's also pressuring the government to put some of all these things in place so that life will be easy for the common man. So, citing an example of the Delta Lagos Road, that a tanker had a petroleum content split that the common citizen went to in scoop of the liquid content. You agree with me that some of although coupled with ignorance, also it would have been prompted by the current situation of
Economic hardship.
economic hardship, and so there's some of these persons in the midst of ignorance, they see it as an opportunity to have fuel in place for the hike in fuel price. So if some of all these things are kept in place, roads are constructed, there's easy life for the common man, I think some of all these problems will be solved.
Wow. We do hope, sincerely, we do hope that Labour will go ahead with the strike today. You know, this back and forth, that is one thing I'm neutral,
Yeah.
I'm a journalist, but that is one thing, in my personal opinion, that is one thing I do not like about Labour
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah,
They
you
tell
should be
you they are going
stable.
on strike.
You should be
After
stable.
meeting, you see them slowing down. Why not just
Yeah.
keep the same energy? You need to pass a message.
So this now comes with where leadership plays a good role. To me, the leadership at a point they get compromised. They get compromised. So that is why you keep on saying today moving. So there is no unison in the
and
core.
that brings us to the reason why Nigerians are not giving up hope on the organized labor.
Yes, so it becomes a questionable. You've been repeating something, you go up, you say today you come, you are not going to do this. It is not out of place if the common man or the masses are giving up on the Nigerian Labour Congress. So the Nigerian Labour Congress have to just take it as a challenge and to prove themselves right, that it has not been business as usual.
As usual.
We are
I
serious. We
love
are
that
serious.
word.
We mean business. So
When we
the
wait
law,
and see what happens today, they are supposed to shut down tomorrow. So let's see whether or not they will compromise once more.
yeah, we are keeping our fingers across to look
Yes,
for
we'll
the
keep
answer.
our fingers crossed, and we'll move on to the very last paper we have with us this morning. That will be the Guardian. Now, these are some of the stories we have coming from the Guardian this morning. Federal government, FG dangles 35,000 wage top up. Others as Labour revisits decision. And that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. There's a story here as well that says mixed reactions to Tinubu's anniversary speech, post subsidy measures. And that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says BB Niger crown goes to Lokoja as the Labour Year bags 120 million naira grand prize. That story is on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says casualization, concerns over exploitations, high demands for cheap labor. That story is on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. There's a story here that says, my husband, not magician, says Oluremi as Adeleke others exhort Nigerians. That story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. There's a story here that says Justice Minister distances FG from 50 billion naira plea bargain with Emefiele, and that story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. These are some of the stories we have coming from Guardian this morning. Now, what's your take on this? I saw this headline this morning. I was just smiling. Now, the first lady coming to say her husband is not a magician. What's your take on that? Does it mean Nigerians are not demanding too much, or their expectations are too high, and she's feeling okay? Calm down. My husband is not a magician. What's your take on that statement from the first lady?
First of all, although I'm not a lawyer, but what is the constitutional right of the first lady to come and speak on behalf of her husband, that her husband is not, what's it called?
A magician.
A magician? And to me, I think is a reaction out of a place. She should have not come out to make such statements. She should know that once leadership is bestowed on you, pressure will come. You are needed to put things in place. The husband was campaigning. When he campaigned, he said he made so many promises. So Nigerians are expecting the husband to live up to the campaign. The only way for her to prove herself, or the husband to prove herself, is to give us tangible results. The common man is not happy. The common man is suffering. So, so more is expected from the president. So she should bear with us, so that as the common man, as we state our wish and what we expect from the government. There's no government that is void of public criticism and pressure here and there. So she should take it as what comes with the office of the president.
Is really sad because I actually saw that headlines this morning. I followed the trend, and Nigerians came for her indeed, saying, does it mean that this woman is not feeling the pains of Nigeria? Is it that she's not seeing the hardship of Nigerians? Why would she come out and say such a thing, that her husband is not a magician? But my take sincerely, Augustine, on this is that you, as a first lady, you came out with your husband during the campaign process.
Yeah.
You said your husband said A, B, and C. And then I want to believe that even before you became the first lady, you saw from the past administration the groinings of Nigeria, and you came to say, I will do this if I come because I have the solution. And now, after 100 days in office, you're telling us that your husband is not a magician.
Just 100 days in office. Did she know President Goodluck Jonathan was dragged. You should know how Buhari was dragged. So I think these are part of the things that comes with the office. Once you assume an office, there is expectations, and you can't make sure the tolerance limit of everybody or the hope of everybody to be at the same pace. Some persons expect you to work and generate result in accordance with what you've promised during your campaign. So she should take it as a part of the process. If the citizen leaves the government so low, no public opinion on the government, I think we won't get the needed results. So I think pressure group is part of what is needed to fight.
Motivate and to push our leaders.
Yeah, so push our leader to generate the needed success.
Now, there's a story here. Justice Minister distances federal government from 50 billion naira plea bargain with Emefiele. Now, what's your take on this? This has been trending.
Oh, Justice Minister distancing the federal government from
50 billion naira plea bargain with Emefiele.
I don't really have any stake on that, but so far, whatsoever it takes and what they want to do, I believe there are constitutional proceedings, and it should follow the already laid in place constitutional proceeding in line with the CBN regulations and policies. So that is what I think.
Anyway, we're still waiting to see how that judgment plays out. Emefiele, we see now is now carrying Bible and is now turning a prophet or a pastor. But we know that story very well. And we do hope sincerely that the government will not try to play a fast one on Nigerians. These are, I saw the news last week, and this is now that probe is now involving other names, not just Emefiele, especially in CBN and other sectors. So I don't want.
It's very sensitive. It's very sensitive.
Very sensitive, and we don't want a situation where the government will come and play hide and seek with us. So they should just allow the law to take its course, and the judiciary as well. We're really hoping that the judiciary will try and be really truthful for once. Not just coming to cut corners or what they do. That Nigerians as a people, we have lost hope on all sectors, but we still believe that the judiciary is the hope of the common man.
To an extent, I agree with you that the judiciary will be the hope for the common man. The issue of Emefiele, just as I said, this is a very sensitive one. There is a watch of the public, the citizens, they are watching what will become the outcome of that case. Then the judiciary on their own side, you cannot separate Emefiele from the past administrator.
That is true.
So looking at it, if it goes down, everybody, majority of the big names might go down. So it's like is something that is a killer task for the judiciary to carry out. It's a difficult task, but whatsoever it will be, the outcome will surely
wait
come
and see.
Yes.
Just before we let you go, Austin, now we saw BB Niger yesterday, a 22 years old girl. She took home the crown, and the brand prizes were of 120 billion. Now, as a youth, what would be your advice to this very beautiful young girl?
First of all, I'm not a fan of BBN. I don't watch BBN.
Even me, I'm not a fan as well.
I don't. But to have labored for such amount of money, I will encourage her to invest. She should not be going to maybe booking tickets and flying abroad for
carried away, having fun
and all that. She should make good use of what she have now. Because opportunity, they says comes but once. So she should not let this slide off her hand.
Well, Austin Akpome, thank you so much. Thank you for being on the review this morning, and thanks for review of your opinion. We appreciate your time and everything you said. And nice to have you. We hope to have you again on the show next time. Do have yourself a very beautiful morning.
It's my pleasure meeting you, Princess. It's my pleasure.
Yes. Viewers, that would be a good place to wrap up the show, the reviews this morning. Yes, it's been a fun ride with Austin. Yes. And before we go, don't forget Nigeria. We know that there's nothing to write home about. So a lot of people, it has been from one retrogression to another, we're retrogressing, and no hope for the common man. But believe me, like Peter Obi says that, we should keep hope alive. Maybe we should. And be your brother's keeper. We know that in as much as the country is tight, in as much as things are very difficult, there are some people also living better than others. Now, this is the time to show love to one another. And it's Monday, yet it's a new week, a new energy. Come out with that energy and believe that everything will be all right. Don't drink and drive, and of course, obey the traffic law. And while you are out there, remember that peace is priceless, so let's always give peace a chance. And before I go, don't forget to hit on the notification bell. Follow us on all our social media handles: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, now X, and of course, YouTube. Subscribe, share, invite somebody to the page, and leave us with your opinion. We'd love to hear from you as well. While you are out there, please be safe. I'll see you again on the program. Wake up, Nigeria, tomorrow. Have yourself a very, very beautiful morning. And please, while you are out there, like I said, drive carefully and do what, will be pleasing to others. You know that saying that what you would not like, don't do to other. So please do well to make sure you obey the law. I'll see you again tomorrow on the show. I remain yours truly, Princess Kessy.
Hooray! The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets.
TV Talent Award is here again. We honor, recognize, and appreciate hard work of individuals in the creative industry, films, music, fashion, and comedy. Nomination of various categories is now open at superiorradioandtelevision.com/SROTV-talent-award-registration or contact us via the numbers on your screen now. Powered by SRO TV London in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and lots more. Nominate, nominate, and nominate.